Hi there.
What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to the den. I apologize. I had to change, man. It was fucking hot. Um, Let me fix that. Dilly dally. Let's get this party started. So I hope you guys are having a wonderful evening. And as always, it is good to see the den folk. It is a pleasure, a privilege, an honor. And tonight I figured, I'm still trying to figure out what we're going to do with these theme days. I don't necessarily want to do Throwback Thursday because it's generic, you feel me? But it kind of is what it is. So I wanted to piggyback off a conversation that we were having last night. And that conversation came from Solis. And Solis was just kind of briefly questioning, well, what's the difference? He didn't feel like things were different from, when, say, people in my age group or maybe older were young. And then, kind of to the modern technology now, like how it's impacted. So I wanted to get into that. I wanted to talk about that. And again, like I say, there's my age group. We have some folks who are older, some folks in the same age group, some who may be younger. And we want to talk about how the technology impacts those people. I talked about China on the private Soft Sports podcast. I don't honestly, in reality, people feel how they want to feel about it. I don't really give a shit because we got a bunch of oppressive people here, like the same people who are here complaining about people saying things that they don't like. I mean, if you participate in cancel culture, what is the difference? Honestly, because you get mad at somebody for saying something and you want to ruin their livelihood. It's essentially what China's doing. You got a lot of people like that right here in America. So, again, I'm not really that concerned about it. Let's take care of the home front until the Rockets start paying me. We don't give a shit. But like I said, I want to talk about technology, and I want to talk about But I'm sure that will bring about many more jokes in the near future. For whatever reason, that I would make jokes about certain people for, but I would never do that. I would never single out a single demographic of people and make jokes about them for no apparent reason. You would be a bigot or something if you would do such a thing, and I might be just a little bigot. I don't even know if that makes any sense, but it sounds good, right? Um, oh, that's crazy. Absolutely wrong thing. All right, sorry about that. So, first let's get to the live chat. Whoa, I was lost in top chat land. That's a terrible place to be. You got to make sure you check your chat too. If you're in live chat, if you're in top chat, you're missing all the good stuff. Make sure you are in the live chat because it's live. We live in the live chat.
Hi there.
So let's talk about. Let's see. We got joined us this evening, man. Let's get into some good conversation. Sweet Berry, D the Gamma, Heidi. Let's see. Culture the Nubis. Let's see. Only one lie. Louis. Let's see. Female pimp is here. There's that. Beyond a funny nigga, what's the motherfucking deal? Shelly Long. She's here. Stop pounding. Bad and Bougie, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. RH in the building, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's see. Let's see. I see 335 in the building. Let me see. Chill HD in the building. What's the motherfucking deal? Rashida Reed, what's the motherfucking deal? Broderick in the building, what's the motherfucking deal? B4 real. CEO racist. I gotta catch up. I got midway through that South Park episode. Banned in China, like banned. South Park still. What was this? What 20 something years later? 20 years later, still very clever with it. It doesn't matter. China's gonna win. Fucking everything we buy is made in fucking China. We're not gonna go back to these expensive American products. Come on, really? Wise man in the building. Let's see. Make sure I don't forget about it. But let's talk about it. Like I say, I'm gonna talk about technology, and kind of briefly got into it yesterday, and then part of it too was Trill's brother called, or Trill put his brother on the phone yesterday, and he was talking about fighting with friends over Tech Mobile and things like that, and cancel culture. And Miss Bell, what's the motherfucker? I don't know if I missed you or not. If I missed you, I didn't dish you. Cancel culture is when I don't know if is it exclusive to Black Twitter or is it exclusive to left Twitter and Black Twitter are pretty much the same thing. There's no difference. I mean, it's all this wokey woke. Where is Angela? Black Angela. That's what we're gonna start doing too. Now we have a white Angela, we have a Black Angela. Where's Black Angela? Because when people have like more than one name, we have to like assign some sort of adjective to it. Like you got prepaid Mike, you have Chicago Mike, you have Mexican Mike. So everybody gets adjectives when we have multiple names. We got like two Shelleys. We got I don't know, Snapper Shelley, and then we got Sweetberry Shelley. Yeah, I wonder if she's out of there. So cancel culture is basically when somebody says something that somebody doesn't like, especially a particular group, and they're not kissing their ass or catering to them. They get all upset. They assimilate their Twitter fingers together, and they make a bunch of woke tweets talking about how this person is bad and we need to stop supporting them. And the funny thing about it is, like, the majority of the people who are in this cancel culture, talking about canceling other people, don't even support the shit that that they're canceling anyway. So it's like their impact is -0 because they're not. It does absolutely nothing. The payphone, man. That is terrible. So that's kind of basically when they try to get out there and want to ruin somebody. Well, they're canceled. They're out of there now. So it's terrible. Yes. Did y'all see I don't know if y'all saw the sauce video. I made a fucking idiot reference on the sauce today. On a video I put out this morning. I like the word idiot. Idiot is an appropriate word. Maybe it's not appropriate, but it's just a fun word. It's like it's aggressive enough, but it's not quite profanity. It's not profanity, but it's just like enough. It's just you know what I'm saying? It's everything. Everybody's at war. Basically, PC for being blackballed. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, explain. I don't know what happened to explain. It worked like one day and then it went back out of style. But let's talk about it. So, Beyond Funny nigga mentioned something. He's talking about payphones. Let's talk about, like I said, different technologies. Professor Trill, what's the motherfucking deal? And like I said, so at least, well, what's the difference? And that's kind of what I want to harp on, the differences. And, when we do open up the line, I want you to, speak on the differences maybe when you were younger and then how things are so much different if you are older. So convenience is something that has come along with technology. You save a lot more time, you have a lot more abilities and things like that. But let's talk about the rise of the cell phone and how it has eradicated. You don't see payphones. It's stupid. If you see a payphone and you use that payphone, you're going to jail. Doesn't even matter. You don't have to be doing anything illegal. You're just going to jail because you're going to be suspected of doing something illegal just because you use that fucking payphone. Like, it doesn't even matter. It's just you're involved with crack in some way, right? I don't know what you're buying it or you're selling it, and you're using it, whatever you got going on. If you find a payphone and you don't matter if you stuck out and you ran out of gas or any of that other shit. If you are fucking if you were using a payphone in 2019, you're involved with crack in some manner, and that's just how it is. So here's my deal, right? So start off with, well, in my experience, I never had to call an operator until it patched me through to somebody. But I was on the brink of the rotary phone days. My grandma had a rotary phone for the longest, even when cell phones were in, even when you had the regular handsets and shit with the little corded phones. Like they had a rotary phone for longest, the longest, and man, hey, look, I have a house phone, but it's cordless. Heyo. For some reason, the house phone is really for the little one because she's not getting no cell phone until she gets older. So, if she want to call her family or do something like that, because she got family that's out of state and stuff like that. So, if she want to call them or they want to call her, they can call on the house phone because she's not gonna have the cell phone experience for a while. So, my thing is this, right? My thing is this. So you had the rotary phone, which is terrible because you had to. They had a video of some kids trying to use a rotary phone. They could not figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like they could not figure that shit out for shit. They were struggling. It was the funniest shit I've seen in a long time. But the rotary phone, you had to fucking put your finger in and rotate that bitch all the way for whatever number you want to do. Then you had your little button phones, push button phones, little headsets. Then I remember being young and not knowing shit. And when cell phones, they used to be in fucking like briefcases and shit. You used to fucking have to. Well, you was paying dollars a minute. You might as well be calling a fucking phone sex line to have a fucking cell phone, like fucking big ass satellite. You had to set up a fucking station to use that bitch. Hattie Patterson, what's the motherfucking deal? Glad you could join us this evening. And you just had to put it, like you had to work to use a cell phone. And this is prior to texting and all that other stuff. This is bitches used to look like VC. But when they moved out of the cases, the whole fucking case, you fucking then you had the big VCR phones. You know what I'm saying? Like yeah, and that's one of the side effects. And I was gonna get to that cell phones have come across. Like back in the day, you learned people's numbers. You knew people by their fucking phone number almost. Like you knew how to call people no matter what. So the fact that you may not have been on a cell phone, or you may not. I mean, there was even right when caller ID was coming around. Caller ID was fancy technology. Star 69 was fancy technology. So my thing about that is it's super funny because I remember when cell phones were becoming a thing, and this is when cordless was like it was in. My homeboy was like, man, they got these phones, man. We're kids, kids don't know shit, and they're called super cordless. And I think back on that shit, and I find it so fucking funny to this day. You know what I'm saying? That's funny. Star 67. Yeah, Star 67 was the thing. You could put the star. What was the block? I forgot the block is. You could put the call block for the anonymous call block. Man, look, Star 69. Remember when three-way calling was cool? Like I don't even think people three-way call. Like people group text messages. I don't think people. When is the last time somebody's been on a three-way call? I mean, in the cell phone era, is there even a need for a three-way call? Like, I cannot tell you the last time, unless maybe you're talking to somebody in jail or something, I cannot tell you the last time that I've been on a fucking three-way call. You know what I'm saying? So, that's, today he was on a three-way. Man, look, three-way will get you trapped. But then, I remember we thought we were smart because, like I said, this is being younger, like in elementary. So, one person would use the three-way to call somebody else would hook it up and call somebody else. And, you could like have a bunch of people on a fucking call. So you could really go more than three-way. If everybody had three-way on their phone, you could always call and add another person. So it would, I think the most we had like 6 people on a call one time. And it made no sense because everybody's talking. Nobody talking about shit. So it kind of is what it is. But fast forward to that, Then there's a point where the little Nokias were cool. Remember that? Like everybody had the little Nokia. You was playing Snake on your phone. You had that fucking little MIDI ringtone. You know what I'm saying? And you really thought she was cool because you could program your own ringtones into the phone. That shit, they sounded like shit. Dee 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 dee. That shit sounded terrible. Speaking of that, look at that. But you thought you were cool because it kind of sounded like the song on the radio, but in reality, it didn't. You know what I'm saying? You're determined about that topic, aren't you? And so again, like I say, you thought you were cool with that. You could take the cases off and swap them up and do all of the little shit, put little fancy lights on. You could just do little stuff, and I thought that was the epitome of technology, right? And then you move on. You had the little clamshells and all these other things, but this is back when, again, you got free minutes after 9. You thought you was balling. You talked to everybody after 9, man. Don't call, man. I only got. Could you imagine these days to try to have 900 minutes for a month? You know what I'm saying? And then free. It was like 900 minutes, free minutes after 9. Depending on who you got. What they got after 7, and Singular had like the rollover minutes and shit like that. What we got going on here? Yeah. Hey, Jason, that's well, happy birthday to you, sir. Happy birthday to Mr. Jason. What are we now? What are we like? 11, 12 now? But shout out to Jason, man. I hope that it was all good. You talking about the Walkmans? We're gonna get to Walkmans. Walkmans, the big evolution was from fucking cassette to fucking CD. We're gonna talk about music and all of that, and how the phone basically is everything now. Like the phone took cameras, it took basically TVs and handheld gaming systems and all that other shit. The phone ruined the Game Boy. That's why Game Boy ain't shit no more. But you got like the Switch and all that other stuff, and everything just got combined into the phone. Like everything that you would have just got combined into the phone. But again, the technology wasn't there back then, so you would have to have. You wanted to listen to the radio, it wasn't on your fucking phone. It wasn't. You'd be lucky to be able to. I remember when you could put like a couple of little ringtones on your phone. I had that Sprint. It was that blue Sprint, and it was like supposed to be a music playing phone, but it was like a struggle to put music on that bitch. It was. Phones were a struggle. Even though the technology was available in some cases, shit was still a struggle. You had to have 50 different fucking chords. I remember the fucking Nextels. I used to make a killing off that though. Fucking Nextels with the damn. You could put the ringtones on them, certain ones, and so people would pay to get the fucking little ringtones, and then shit. I just sell them fucking ringtones. I charged a couple of bucks a ringtone, and I'm probably sure that was not the most legal situation, but hey, it is what it is. Hello, Moto. Remember when razors were the shit? People thought that, the beepers. Oh man, I thought I was cool with the beeper. And that's what I'm saying though. That's like right around that transition from the cell phone to the. It went from the beeper to the cell phone, but you had the beeper. You had the house phone. You had to wait till you got home to check your messages to communicate and shit. But the shit I used to hate. I used to hate motherfuckers using codes on the beepers, right? There was a chick that I was fooling with in high school. And I think even though I had a cell phone, I think I still had my pager for a while. And there'd be some people I wouldn't even tell I had a fucking number. They just get the pager number. But I don't know. You can call it jump off. You can call it whatever you want to. But this chick would text me. Because, here in Houston, the local radio station 97.9. So every fucking time this particular song came on, she would text me 97.9. I would never go listen. I would never fucking go listen to it because I already knew what the fuck it was that she wanted. I'm just like, man, it wasn't nothing. It was just like, I don't want to fucking. I know the song. I'm not finna check it because again, think about it. You couldn't just fucking pull up music. I mean, these were Napster and LimeWire was percolating in those days, but it wasn't like you could just listen to music however whenever you wanted to at the drop of a hat. Like somebody just mentioned, streaming services. Who's that? I just missed it. But yeah, the streaming services, that you can just pull up whatever you want anytime you want to, right? 304 is a hoe. Yeah, you got to turn it around. A real live 304. She go, oh, well now. I command you. So they need to give me like a little lightning bolt for a hand. I am. This is how I feel. This is how I feel old, like fucking Zeus talking about this old ass fucking technology. That's fucking funny. I'm glad you did that because I have an idea for a meme. I'm gonna do a Den meme, so this is gonna make it a lot easier. Just let me timestamp that real quick. Let me do something very entertaining with the Den. So I feel like Frylock of fucking Aqua Teen and shit. But again, so like I say, let me kind of expedite a little bit because I want to, like I said, I want to open up the lines and stuff, and we will be prompt. We will get we'll be off at 12. The line closes at 12, so if you ain't on the whole queue at 12, you're gonna miss out. And we will be applying the 10-minute rule today. So everybody know folks be waiting on hold, and they be like, damn, motherfuckers be getting extra time, and it's not fair to the people on hold. So I'm gonna be on it. But let's expedite it real quick. So, like I said, we can talk about phones, how they went and they've changed up, and then they embraced it. The phone is like probably the most powerful thing. TVs were essential in a way because, again, you had to go be stationary to watch what you wanted. But then again, the phone took that over. But then the TVs got smaller, skinnier, crisper picture. I remember, a lot of y'all wasn't raised right. So I remember my grandma's house, my grandma in Beaumont, with the big ass TV that didn't work, but the little TV on top of it that did, and you still had to fucking turn the fucking knobs and do all that other shit. Video game graphics. Let me tell you something, man. Let me tell you something. Yes, Beaumont, Texas. Big money, Texas. Remember, I'm gonna tell y'all when the game was changing. See, some of y'all youngsters ain't gonna know nothing about this right here. You feel me? Some of y'all ain't gonna know nothing about this right here. I'm finna change the game on y'all. See, when you went from the original Nintendo to Mario, you played Mario, the original Mario, and then you got to like Mario 3. You was like, damn, they doing this. Mario 3 look live as fuck. But then when they went from Mario to Super Mario World, you was like, damn, okay, this whole cool. But the game changer, I don't care. I don't care what anybody says, man. I don't care what anybody says. The biggest game changer, but on a single system, was Donkey Kong Country for Super Nintendo. Donkey Kong Country changed the game because, it would look more rendered, look more 3D or whatever because of the way that it looked. Now, I'm not talking about the system as a whole, but I'm just talking about because everything went from that fucking 2D platformer look, but that bitch actually looked like it was 3D. Come on, stop the nonsense. For what it was, for Super Nintendo, I'm not talking about the best looking graphics ever. Because with 64, all the stuff on 64 was live, but everything on 64 had a similar appeal. Everything on every other system had a similar appeal. You went from the super weird pixelated looking stuff to the rare graphics of the fucking monkeys looking like they were legit, the trees looking like they were actually 3D. Now, because that shit was the biggest single system jump. Oh, look at the phone. What y'all, let me stop now. What y'all done to the phone? Y'all over here blowing it up. I don't even know what's happening right now. Yeah, I'm happy for the Astros too. That's cool. That's good stuff. Who calling? Line ain't open yet. Why you calling? But that was essential. But then with Nintendo, the biggest game changer that 64 had, if we're talking about video games, the biggest game changer that 64 brought to the thing was not simply the analog stick, but it was the Rumble Pack. The Rumble Pack changed the game. Star Fox 64, I think, came with the Rumble Pack. The Rumble Pack is what changed the game when it came to video games. Yeah, graphic wise, that's what I'm saying. Exactly. It looked more like, cause, oh, come on, think about all the regular Super Nintendo shit looked just flat. It was just flat. But Donkey Kong Country actually had like a 3D feel to it, even though it wasn't 3D. It had a 3D feel to it. It wasn't, it didn't really. The look was so much different than everything else. That's when you thought, I was like, damn, graphics can't get much better than this. And it is what it is. I think Star Fox's biggest game was Metal Gear. Not Star Fox. PlayStation's biggest game was like what, Metal Gear Solid. I remember that shit was like the shit for PlayStation. I never played it though. But then when you were able to play DVDs and do all this other stuff on your system, let me get expeditious real quick. So video games, the technology. Again, now video games, you don't even have to go to the store to buy them. You get on the fucking internet, download a code, or get on your Xbox or your PlayStation, just get on the code, and then bam, it's on your shit. Motherfuckers don't understand waiting in line to go and get a game and hoping that bitch would either you pre-ordered and you knew you was good, so you get up at midnight and go get that shit. You know what I'm saying? And and that's the difference too. The game was the game. It wasn't no update in the game. It wasn't there wasn't no fucking. It wasn't no, well, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and then we put out a half of a game, and then we're going to just update it and patch it up as we go along. No, the game was the game. You know what I'm saying? And you had to deal with that shit. So let me see. That's funny. Let me think. So we talked televisions, and now you're basically, niggas so lazy now. Niggas don't even want to use remotes. I hate voice remotes. Remember universal remotes? Niggas thought they was cool because you could control, 2 or 3 devices with one remote. Now you got these fucking remotes that want to record. I'm not with the voice remote shit. I hate that shit. Back in the gap, TV changed so much in the sense of you had to be, if you wanted to watch something, you better be on time and watch that shit. Otherwise, you finna miss that bitch until next time, unless you had a kinfolk or a cousin, somebody who motherfucking me had a VCR and recorded that bitch for you. Hey, I recorded that shit on tape. Motherfuckers used to, man, look, miss my sister, love my sister, may she rest in peace. But she used to record the shit out of some damn award shows. She had a bunch of award shows on VCR. You could set the shit to record from the TV and record that shit on the VCR. But we don't even want to get into VCR to Blu-ray technology. Now everything is streaming, right? So, like I said, it's just so much change. Like the convenience, it's beautiful. And there's a whole lot of things. I don't want to talk about everything else because I want to leave some stuff for y'all to call in and share, your memory. So I don't want to talk about everything. But what I do want to talk about real quick, give me about 5 more minutes and then I'll open up the line. But what I do want to talk about is the negative side of it. And that's kind of where, the good and the bad. And I don't want it to be a whole miserable thing. But now with the technology, the disconnect that comes with it. And what I mean by that is that people don't gather up anymore. Motherfuckers used to talk on the phone back in the day. Y'all had party lines and chat lines and all those other things. But eventually motherfuckers on them bitches trying to meet and shit. I don't know, I guess you could get catfished in a way. And we can talk about AOL and all that other stuff. But, people hung out back then. Maybe people still hang out from time to time, but now it's like people go out to show out for the internet. It's like they don't go out to have a good time anymore. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, look, don't get me started. The same because I had in Beaumont. Cause y'all remember when 97.9 used to have a thunderstorm mix? So I would record fucking onto the cassettes, and when I would go out there, because wherever they was at, the signal wasn't really good, so you couldn't really get the radio too good, and they would and I would just record like the thunderstorm mix or whatever. They'd be like, man, how you get that thunder on there? Man, I can't tell you my secrets, man. I got my secrets. I be making shit happen. I thought I was cool like a motherfucker. They was just country as shit. But so my thing is just like, even though all of this stuff is great, it's beautiful. Again, it's convenient. Because again, communities like this wouldn't exist. We wouldn't be having these conversations, maybe 10 years ago or whatever else it may be. Maybe, probably not in this way. But so there is a beauty of it because you can connect with like-minded people. Exactly. All right, so I already know. That you can find like-minded people. So even if you're in a place where you may not relate to a lot of people, you can reach out and find communities that relate to you, which is a beautiful thing, right? And that's convenient for people who may, feel whatever, however they are, whatever they are, and that's cool. But then it has a negative impact on those people who, again, they just feel a particular way, and there's bad communities where people go and they gravitate and they hit again like that echo chamber I talk about, and keep to reiterate all this terrible stuff. Communities of incels and hate groups and whatever else you want to call it. And they just sit there and they reiterate these same things. And I think that has a mental toll on people because when you only gravitate to that and you only see that, then you believe that it's more of that than what it really is. I think part of it too has created this highlight culture. And what I mean by that is people only show their wins. People never show what it really takes to get somewhere. The bumps, the bruises, the ups and the downs. They always show the wins. They always show the highlights. They always show the pluses, And the thing about that is it impacts people because they look at these celebrities, they look at entertainers or whatever, and they're only seeing the good in their life. And because they deal with real problems, they feel like, oh, well, my life ain't shit because I'm looking at this 1% of 1%er living this amazing life. Only the part that they show when they cut the camera off, they're fucking miserable and they're fucking popping a dozen pills a fucking hour. And they feel like that's what their fucking life is supposed to be. They feel like that's what they're supposed to be, and they don't have a real guidance. So again, like I say, it's real sketchy. The parents who put the fucking digital device in front of their kids as babies, and the kids can work this, can't talk, but they can they can get on YouTube. They can work the buttons, they can play these games. Don't realize that this is having a heroin-like effect. It's building an addiction in babies. The research shows that kids who gravitate get that a whole lot of exposure on the internet all the time, and you put them in front of these devices. I mean, do you ever look at a kid on an iPad? They're like a junkie. They're like a heroin addict. Think about it. When a motherfucker takes when they shoot up heroin or they pop them pill, whatever it is, any kind of heroin like opioid or whatever you want to call it, what happens? They're like stuck, right? And you look at a kid, they're like fucking stuck. You could talk to the motherfuckers, they don't hear you. You can talk to them just like you would talk to them any other time. They don't fucking hear you. They're zoned in. And when you do get there to them, like they just woke up and shit, huh? And again, when they don't have it, they actually go through withdrawals. And so it's terrible, man. Again, like I say, this is stuff that people may think it's harmless shit, but you're doing detriment to the children. I'll use that in a minute. But here's the deal. Like I said, I'm not going to take up all the good memories. Give me just a second. I'm going to open up the line here, and I'm going to allow y'all to share some thoughts, share some feelings of your own. Yeah, I'm trying to get y'all hooked on this YouTube page, man. Get here, baby. Get a little bit of this YouTube, baby. No, let me this do-rag. Let me just. Come on, get a little of this Den Show, baby. Come on, baby. I need a little Den Show, baby. Let me stop fucking with y'all. But give me just. Oh man, I like the Den. I love the Den. We have a good time in the Den. It is a very good time. Very enjoyable. Very enjoyable people. I love y'all. Y'all really make my day exciting. What are these? Audio Technica somethings? I don't know. I fucking forgot what they are. I forgot which model they are. I gotta go back and look. Hey, Hall & Oates go live. Don't sleep on Hall & Oates, baby. Hall & Oates float your boat, baby. Now let's put the dilly dally up. Put that there. Where are we at? Give me just a second to get this activated, and then we will get some good conversation going on. guess I can do it like this because I know it was triple. But give me just a second because I don't want to do the same shit I did yesterday and end up accidentally hanging up on somebody like I hung up on Miss Lady Licious. It was not intended. Not intended at all. Hell no, female pimp ain't getting no damn wrench. Who sold you that? Who told you those fibs? We will find Bigfoot before female pimp get a wrench. Something along the. I still got to figure out what the issue is with the text messages. Bow. There's the number. All those other good things. Oh, excuse me. Let me put the link. If you want to support the channel, you can go to streamlabs.com/The Den Show. If you want to use the very entertaining mask, the variety of masks, you can go to streamlabs.com/The Den Show /masks. I'll put the link there. It'll be a little bit easier to probably do that than sitting here trying to spell it out. I don't know nobody. I'm like, Honcho, ain't nobody gonna type that bullshit. Okay. Put that link there for those of you. All right, that is the mask link. If y'all enjoy the mask, like 335. Those some of the most random masks that just I didn't even know some of these masks exist. But let's get it. We got a call coming in. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling in to the den this evening?
Man, it's your boy Roman.
Roman, you too young to know anything about some nostalgic technology. What's on your mind, though, Roman? What are your thoughts? What are your feelings?
Look, Honcho. This is why I ain't gonna go too long tonight, man. I was born 2002, so the thing is, my father's when it comes to like gaming consoles, also like PS2. Mm-hmm. You get what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm not really gonna talk about specific anything because I don't think. I mean, some people might resonate, but I'm just talking about like technology in general, bro. I mean, look, I'll tell you this, Honcho. Okay, technology is good because I mean, it makes people. I mean, it's the reason why the thought and the den is around the day. You get what I mean?
Yes.
Because I mean, without technology, I mean, Honcho, I wouldn't know you. You wouldn't know me. We wouldn't even know we were in Houston. We wouldn't know all the great people in the den, all the great people in the South. You get what I mean? So the benefits of technology is it's to create a platform where we can all talk to each other, interact with each other, and find common ground. Things that we all agree on, things we disagree on, and that we could just have good conversation. Now, you always got some assholes or some arguments, debates. I mean that happens, on the internet. It's always some bullshit, but it's still good things that come with the internet. You get what I mean?
Yes.
And how it has grown the way we live. You get what I mean? I mean, damn. I do remember when the TV just shaped like a damn box. You get what I mean? You had to press the button. It'll be on the static screen. You have to wait for it to come on for a couple seconds. You get what I mean? I mean, nowadays you turn TV, it's just like that. I was just saying in the comments how I remember, some people might still do this, but, we didn't have to do it no more. I mean, when you used to watch a show on a certain day, like a Monday, right? Mm-hmm. And you had to wait a whole week for that show to come back. You get what I mean? For the next episode. Now, you got Hulu. You get what I mean? The episode's on there like a day later. You get what I mean? Now, I know that's quick to some people, but then sometimes the excitement of the build-up, you get what I mean, of waiting for things. So, it's a different time. You get what I mean? Even like I was saying, how when I used to play games back, that was like in the PS2, for how the PS4 is now. You get what I mean? The gradual change from the graphics of just how it's played, the PS2 used to have, you had to plug it into the PS2. It had a cord. Now,
Cord.
wireless. Yeah. Yeah, PS2, it had a cord and you had to plug it in. Like, it was only, I think if I'm correct, it was like two of them. You get what I mean? And you had to plug it in. Like, you couldn't rip it out. Like, it wasn't wireless. You get what I mean? And, now you get to the PS4, the whole was wireless. You could damn near move anywhere and stop them anywhere. So, like I say, technology has done a lot of good and has generated a lot of good things that we could never do from back in the day. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of negative. You get what I mean? From how people treat each other. You get what I mean? How people just feel like they have the right to say anything without a consequence. You get what I mean? And it causes a lot of problems, but we need it. You get what I mean? And it's caused, I do believe, a little bit of laziness. You get what I mean? I think people have got a little lazier over years with technology becoming bigger. You get what I mean? People on their phones 24/7, So, but like I say, it's a lot of benefits, man. So, yeah. But going to music, like I say, hey, don't be holding on Sunday '99, man. Hey, they be playing jam.
Okay. Does that station still exist?
Yeah. Well, what you saying, though?
I say, does Sunny 99.9 still exist?
Yeah, they still exist. Yeah, Sunday '99. I ain't what I want to listen to, but Sunday '99. They be playing like a mix of old and new.
Mm-hmm.
So you might get somebody new, and then you might get somebody old. You get what I mean? But me, I rock with the old shit. I'm like a 65-year-old man in a 17-year-old body. So.
Oh man, I posted a article in the Den that I said I found Roman, but in the Facebook group. I ain't gonna tell you. That's all I'm gonna tell you about it. I thought it was very amusing though. But man, yeah, 'cause I remember Sunday 99.9. They used to be what the 60s, 70s, and 80s. That was like in the 90s. I think that they said they used to do that, and then so I'm assuming now they got a couple.
They still do it now. They still do it now. They always say music from the 60s, 70s. 80s, 90s, and today. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But,
that's terrible.
The reason why I listen to older music is because I feel like I get variety. You get what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, when you listen to the music of today, you're going to get the same style with just a different look. So, look at all the rappers of the day. To find good rapping or just to find good music, it's like you have to go underground again. You get what I mean? It's like you have to go back to how I know the 90s and the 80s was when music was underground, like especially hip-hop was underground to find it. Because when you just look at the common or these mainstream rappers, everybody's the same. You get what I mean? You have to go down and dirty to find the good rappers. So that's why, the reason why I listen to older music, because I feel like I'm going to give a variety of singers that's going to have a different sound, that's going to have a different look, that's going to have a different way of portraying emotion. You get what I mean? So that's another reason why I listen to older music,
Okay. Here's my thing. With that and saying that says television isn't good to watch anymore, and I agree. What's sad though is because eventually the hits of today are going to become oldies, and
that's true.
And kids are going to think that's what they were listening to. But again, I don't know. I think it's going to be, maybe might be different because, again, the fact that you don't have to listen to the radio. I can't tell you the last time I really listened to the radio. I can't tell you the last time I listened to 97.9. It's been years. So, I don't know. It's just a different
you can, with the iPhone, you can just plug it up to your phone and you can just play off your YouTube or whatever and you listen to your own music,
Yeah. Just past the aux cord. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I do because it's just better, because you know what you want to listen to, and you have a playlist or you have some tracks that you know. Because depending on your radio for your music, you ain't gonna get nowhere.
I agree.
That's all I got, Honcho.
All right, Roman. Well, I appreciate you calling and getting the party started, man.
Man, anytime.
All right, have a good one. Man, it's funny that you're talking about the kids think that 5 years is so old. Like I saw some shit like again, loitering in those Twitter streets where I probably shouldn't be, and they were talking about Young Thug. He was a trendsetter. He was the OG for these new little niggas. I don't even know the little niggas they were talking about. I'm like, Young Thug basically just came out. He ain't even been around that long. Like to really have an established career. And I'm not a Young Thug fan at all, but I remember when that Goofy I'm a Stoner shit came like to like they put him in the histories of rap music. But what's the motherfucking deal? Who do we have calling into the den this evening?
It's Bell.
The Bell has
wrong. To remember the beginning of the history of rap music.
So
how far back do you want me to go? I mean, I remember my dad's folks had a phone number it was Central 8762, and that was it.
Ooh.
That was the whole phone number.
Oh, man, I don't...
Back in the 50s and 60s, there was usually one phone on every city block, and it had a word and 4 numbers was the code.
I've never heard of such a thing.
Yep. That's way before my time, let me tell you. Yeah. But what I do remember is my mom and dad having a record player, but it looked like it was a cabinet, and you slid the top open, and you dropped the LPs on it, and it wasn't just 33, it was 78 and 45s.
That's funny.
And my parents used to listen to John Coltrane and Odetta and some real good stuff back in the day, like Sunday nights kind of thing. And I remember back in the day, home movies were done by Bell Howard, and they were 8mm films.
Ooh.
And that was like the first for like home movies before we had video cameras.
And so how did that work?
It was put into like this bigger camera, and then they would put it on a projector. And you could buy films, and back in the days like that, porn was on 8mm film.
What?
And you had to set, it was black and white and had to be set up in a projection. Back in the 50s and 60s, believe it or not.
That's too much of a hassle.
Well, obviously somebody wanted it done because it was on the underground. But yeah, as far as technology went, and pagers actually started out with doctors and lawyers, and then it went to the drug dealers.
Oh man, yeah, there definitely was a stigma of the drug dealers.
Yep, they would put their order in, and that's when that was like, I want to say that was probably mid '80s, early '90s type of thing. So yeah, I was very heavily technology involved back then. So I also remember when cable boxes had locks on them, like the stand-up freezers.
Ooh.
So that parents, all they had to do was lock that box, and you weren't watching anything you weren't supposed to be.
Oh, so yeah, that's just not gonna work.
That's when VCRs weighed about 25 pounds.
Man.
I told you, I go old school. They look like, the tape recorders of the day, but they were huge. It took 2 people to lift it usually off the table. Wow. And then one time I remember we paid this kid 25 cents to hold the rabbit ears all night so we could watch a program.
25?
Yep.
Excuse me. Oh, man.
Because back then you had 2 versions. You had VH and UH.
Yes.
That was like, you had like, I don't know, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you were like 56, 48, something like that. And you get about 6 stations on no matter where you were in the country.
Yeah, I remember having a TV like that. You had because I think it was, which one was the bigger? Because you had like the big knob with the main channel, then you had to set it to like 1, and then you could use the smaller knob to get kind of the higher number channels.
Yep.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, you set it on one, and then it was, and then you went up to like 56 and 48 and all that. But yeah, we used to have this kid, there was a certain program, I don't even remember what it was, but we used to have him just stand there and hold it for 30 minutes while the program was on, and we would switch kids every week. Because it was the only time that you could get that in is somebody holding it. Or we would, later on, we learned to put aluminum foil on the rabbit ears.
Yes, the aluminum foil. That's funny. Those are tricks I think I learned from my grandparents.
They have, Delilah is the day and age of, like, top, like, nighttime kind of radio for softies and countdowns. But back in my day, especially during the late 70s, early 80s, Casey Kasem, and it was the top 40, and they do long-distance dedications. You were talking about some girlfriend wanting you to listen to the radio. It must have been a radio dedication.
No, it would just be a local thing. Just like locally, every time they would play this song, she would pay me because she just wanted me to just hear it. Like, because she swore up and down this was our song, but there was no hour. So since there was no hour, there was no hour song. She just would swear, every time I hear this song, it makes me think about you. And I'm like, well, that's unfortunate because I don't feel the same way when I hear the song. But if it makes you feel good, do what you do, you know. So, yeah.
I have to say, 70s and 80s was a lot of mushy music.
Ooh.
A lot of soft rock came out of that time period, at least on my end. And I never knew about BET until I turned 21. So you're talking about 1990 was the first time I ever saw BET.
And how did you react to that the first time you saw BET?
I was like, this is really cool. This is urban. Well, seriously, I was a kid that grew up in a town of 27,000 people.
So, do you remember the first video you saw on BET?
What?
Do you remember the first video that you saw on BET?
I don't remember the first video. I know it was far after, like, Thriller came out. I was in Florida on spring break, and I won't tell you what year. I would say it was probably, well, since I was 21, it was probably right around 1990, 91. So that was when Bobby Brown was kind of, like, really coming into hip-hop at that point. I don't care for him. I don't hate him. I don't like him. I got issues dealing with him, but that's a whole other story. Yeah, that's when rap wasn't quite full, how do I say this, on the main stage of everything. It was still in California, it was still in Jersey, it was still in Boston, but it hadn't quite hit the suburbs at that point. It wasn't as mainstay as people think that it was. It was definitely underground, but it hadn't quite gotten any of the recognition until about maybe 93, 95. But yeah, I mean, there's so much. I mean, I remember a lot from back then. So, got any questions on that? Because if you ask me, I probably would remember, but it's just, there was a lot of haze during that time.
Okay.
I was young.
I mean, you know.
I will. It's not Sunday night, but I will give you this confession. I never did hard drugs. So when I was watching you do a heroin bit, I was like, yeah, no, I'm not going that far.
Yeah, don't do heroin, kids. It's bad. It's very bad.
It will kill you. Eventually, it will kill you.
Okay.
You know, we never get out of here alive.
That's very interesting. So, have you ever did you ever back then listen to more of the gangster rap, like the NWA, things like that?
Actually, I did. Okay, my introduction to it was more Aerosmith when they did a. I can't remember who it was, and
Run DMC.
Yes, thank you. It was "Walk This Way" was the song, and that was sort of my crossover for me because I was always Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin and the Doors and that kind of thing. Okay. So when crossed over and listening to the rap, it was like, this is really cool, you know. And I love graffiti art. I didn't think it was cool that it was done on public things, but to actually see it being done I thought it was awesome. So I love the artistic aspect of it. I just didn't like the deformation of it.
Okay.
I had an appreciation for the urban arts. It's just that I could understand why some people didn't want their buildings, disrupted with somebody else's work.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me see. Somebody had said to me many years ago that there were certain drugs put in to communities in order to, quote unquote, kill off the communities.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know whether it's true or not, but I could understand why it was done that way. When they were talking about, 60s and 70s was primarily coke. And I don't know, it was coke and pot and probably LSD, and shrooms were probably pretty popular back then with the granola. But coming down the pike a little bit, coke got heavier, and then heroin started coming in. And when they wanted to make it cheaper and spread it faster, that's why crack came in. And it wasn't so much the fact that they were putting it in the diverse communities. They just put it in the largest places that they knew that had drug distribution. It was a business decision, not so much an ethnic decision.
So during those days, it was a lot of people who maybe not have known, they didn't know the long-term effects of some of those drugs. Did you ever know anyone who may have kind of fallen victim to an addiction to
No,
something
I
like
didn't.
that? Okay.
I didn't for several reasons. Freshman year in high school, I had a chem class.
Yeah.
And our particular professor liked to go of, okay, this is your life on drugs in a total chemical state 20 years down the road.
Ooh.
And I lost my dad at a pretty young age. So for me to do drugs and choose to know that life would have been shorter than it would have been longer, it made me realize that that wasn't something that I wanted to do. And don't get me wrong, I had my fun, I drank, I just didn't get completely stupid with it. It was more of controlled chaos. But I lost several people to drug overdoses. And so that was another preventative. And I'm not a goody two-shoes by choice. It's just the fact that me and drugs don't work. So I wasn't pushing it. Everybody's got to know their limits when it comes to that.
Yeah, you definitely got to know where to draw the line so that you'll be fine. If not, and I think that's the problem. I think a lot of people, they don't know how to control, or they I think certain people have those addictive personalities, and they just don't realize how much damage they're actually doing. It ends up being a permanent problem one way or another.
I will say that there are so many pluses and so many minuses with all the new technology. I think that if a person has a limited life, it actually helps those who are handicapped and those who have special needs. But some of us who are quote-unquote normal, it makes us complete idiots by the fact that, how many of us don't even remember our own phone numbers because it's plugged into our phone?
Man, I don't know my own number for shit.
Yep.
I have to check every time.
And you go to write down an address because you have to sign your kid up for something, and it's like, hey, where do I live? And when you get signed up for school or for after-school activity, and it's like, I don't even know where I live. I have to look at my phone in order to get that. So sometimes those things kind of dummy us down. But there's been some really good stuff, though, as far as medical technology has been astronomical. And I know it's kind of getting off of what we were talking about, but, there's a lot of good things. We can listen to rainforests and we can listen to oceans on our phone to be able to give us that noise to sleep by, where 50 years ago you opened the window and listened to crickets if you were in the country.
No,
and if you were in the city, it was fire engines, police cars, and ambulances, if I'm not mistaken.
So I was listening to Crickets just a couple of months ago in the garage. They was taking over, fucking shit up.
And I'm sure you're gonna adhere to the 10-minute rule, which is fine. But have you got anything more before I go?
No, I don't think I do. But if you're going to be in the chat and I come up with something, I will definitely ask.
And by the way, it was me that you hung up on last night, not Lady Licious.
No, because what had happened is, okay, when you first called, I was like I said, I was trying to hear from you, but nothing was coming through, so I ended up hanging up.
I told you it was like listening to somebody that had butt dialed me.
But then after
you laughed about it last night, and you were like, "Yep, okay."
But after that call, I accidentally hung up on Lady Licious also. So maybe I was being racist last night. I don't know. I didn't intentionally do it because somebody's going to accuse me of something. No, but I'm just joking. But I hung up on her too.
I know you didn't. I know you didn't hear it. I'm not upset about it. I thought it was actually kind of funny, but shit happens, and even with today's technology, things still fuck up.
Yes. This is true.
So, anyway, I'll let you go if you don't have anything else, because I know there's a bunch of other callers with everything going on. But the one thing I got to say is that some of that music back in the old days was so much better.
I will agree with that.
The old jazz and the R&B, it's like, Winston Marsalis, there's just certain things that have not gotten better. And I'd like to say it has, but I'm having a hard time with that one.
I would agree because, again, like I say, when you start getting synthetic with anything, and then now the music is in synthetic, everything is digital, it doesn't have that human feel. Everything is just kind of programmed and on schedule. Back then, people just kind of ad-lib certain things, just the way that they had that bond with their instruments. It was much different. Now everything is just kind of cut and paste, and it is what it is. So I definitely agree that the music back then was much more natural. It was much better.
Yeah, you're right. The AI, especially electronica, it's just so almost unnatural. There's no real flow to it. Anyway, we can do this on another night. It might be a topic for something else with music, but I'll let you go, and I'm sure that there's somebody else in the queue.
All right.
Oh, by the way, if you're in the queue more than 5 minutes,
Professorial donated $2. Honcho got on the I'm Rick James, bitch, starter kit.
Professor, somebody got a question for you, Miss Bell. Somebody asked real quick, beyond funny thing asked, says, are you against artists sampling? Well, I'm assuming the hits today. So I guess the music that was back then that the artists are sampling to make new music, are you against that?
I think if it's done well, there isn't any problem. Mm-hmm. I've heard a couple songs that it was like, yeah, nope, try it again. But then there's been a few that have been, hey, that was definitely an improvement, or I didn't know they didn't originally sing that. And you know what? If you've got an older person who a younger artist has reinvented the song and it sounds like their own, then that's really cool that they've owned it. But when it's redone and it's done badly, it just plain sucks. So that's kind of where I have to go with that. It really depends on the artist singing it and how well they make it theirs.
I agree. Yeah, because you want to add something to it. I mean, you gotta differentiate a little bit. But some people get they're less than creative with it.
Yeah, it's really just making it your own, you know. But yeah, that's kind of it for me because there's, what is that, The Voice? Did you know that they are actually invited to be onto The Voice? It's not a matter of being voted on. It's a matter of they've already been put through a process before they go to that point. So when they're singing those songs, they're making them their own, and that's what makes the difference in the songs that they're actually singing.
I don't think I've ever watched The Voice. I mean, I've heard I'm familiar with it in the sense of, I know what you're talking about, but I've never actually seen the show, but I may have to check it out one day.
Yeah, their talent has already been gone through, like, public relations. It's already gone through, like, first levels of cut kind of thing, and they're getting the cream of whatever crop that they've got going on at that point. It's not like American Idol where you've got the good, bad, and the indifferent, and let's just get through it and see what we can make of it. They've already kind of sort of cut the first round out and the second round out, and the ones that they're getting are by invitation only. And that's a bit of the difference with the show. On that note, I'm going to let you go, and I'm going back to the boards. But if you have anything else, you know where I am.
All right, Miss Bell, I appreciate you calling in and sharing a little bit of your history with us this evening.
Sure.
Thank you.
All right. Good night.
Good night. Shout out to Miss Bell. Class is in session. The bell has rung. Only one lie. Who you Debo now? Who you Deboing? Huh? Who you think you punking up here? Only one lie. Give somebody some pistachios. They start trying to punk people. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
You know it's your boy Chill here.
Chill. What's the motherfucking deal? What's on your mind, Chill? How do you feel about modern technology? Well, you're a young man yourself, so y'all don't know nothing about this. See, y'all youngsters don't know nothing about that back in the day technology. But what's on your mind, man? How you feeling about that?
Well, to give you a better idea, I'm 18. I turned 19 this November, and well, I mean, I grew up obviously at a time where it was cell phones. I started out where it was cell phones, early 2000s, mid 2000s, and then the iPod came out, then the iPhone, then the iPad, and a lot of other things. And the thing about video games, actually the first kind of video game I owned was a Game Boy. I got it for my 5th birthday, I think.
Word?
Yeah, okay. Word. Yeah, I got my love for video games from my dad. He used to tell me about it when I was little. He was saying about the Nintendo 64 and all that shit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, video games come a long way. And I was like, do you think it's a good thing? He's like, yeah, it could be yes and no. I mean, it just depends if you like the classics or not. I mean, I like the classics. I still play my PlayStation 2 to this day sometimes.
What day in November is your birthday?
I'm sorry?
You said in November. Your birthday's coming up in November?
Yes.
Which day in November?
November 15th.
November 15th? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And when it came to music, I still listen to classics. I listen to classics all the time. I mean, I think I said that a couple times on the day. Not gonna lie, I will say this. I will confess this. Every morning, I do put on California Love every morning just to get me going. I ain't gonna lie, okay? I ain't gonna lie. I put on that song just to get me going. Like it'll pump me up.
Okay. So what is it specifically about California Love that you like?
I just like it. It's simple. It's nothing complex. Like the simple stuff. Like none of this like woo and all this like beam all that shit. Or it's not like what Snoop Dogg said on his podcast. He's like, it's not this like it's not that shit. I'm like, damn, I can't fucking hear you. What the fuck are you saying?
Mm.
And back in the day, I remember you saying something about this one other thing on your music thing, like the day that music died. Someone's, I think it was you, or if it was a caller, someone saying like in order for your music to get out there, you would have to like most of the time go to the radio show and ask them to play it for you.
Yes.
But on this day, all you have to do is just record the shit on your phone and it's out there.
Exactly.
I mean, SoundCloud, for example, like we wouldn't know, or just like XXX or Trippie Redd or Tekashi and all that shit. And Danielle Bregoli is a good example. If it wasn't for technology, she would have never gotten famous. I'll say that straight up. She would never have gotten famous if it wasn't for technology.
Yes.
Because of that whole Dr. Phil thing. And it went viral, like crazy viral. I remember people telling me, "Catch me outside" all the time. I'm like, man, shut the fuck up.
Man, it took me probably until just recently that I even knew that whatever her name is, some baby, but like what's her rap name? Bad Baby. I think
Bad Baby.
Yeah, Bad Baby. Like it just recently that I put two and two together that was the same person, because I think it was something I saw in the comments or whatever. I was like, I mean, it's just, man. Again, like I said, and that's why I think that nowadays you have people who do anything as long as you can get a little bit of attention, then you can parlay it into something else. I mean, people act crazy on these news clips or whatever it is, and the internet and like virality, it allows people to do these things. So yeah, I definitely agree. It's crazy, man.
And like speaking of like the news, but used to back in the day, you would have to wait to you would have to either watch the news that night or wait till the next day to read it on the newspaper. But these days, you can get alerts like immediately, almost immediately. Like you'll know about shit that's happening across the world, just like that. And with sports, with the announcing and the instant replay was a big deal, and the first down line, for example, for football was a big deal. That wasn't even in there until like the 90s, and that was a big deal. And watching sports, like I don't have cable. Me and my family, we usually run on just Hulu, Netflix, or Amazon. We don't watch cable anymore. And so I use my phone to watch like Texans games, Astros games, Rockets games. And just today I had to use, today I used the radio to listen to the Astros game because I was at work and I was just driving around a lot. And so I still use the radio, and I'm not ashamed to admit that.
But I mean, when I use radio, I mean it's pretty much that's the only thing. Like the two things I listen to on the radio are sports, like if it's a live broadcast of a sporting event, if I'm out on the road somewhere, so there's nothing wrong with that, or because you can't be looking on your phone, you can cause a wreck or some shit, or if I'm out late at night, I listen to Coast to Coast AM. And I don't know why. I know it's usually a lot of far-fetched shit, but just for some reason I like listening to just some of the conspiracy theories, some of the little either ghost tales or alien stories or whatever that they talk about on that, depending on what it is they're speaking on that evening.
I mean, I kind of stay away from that because that shit kind of keeps me awake at night. Like, what am I living in this world for?
Yeah, Coast to Coast is intriguing, to say the least.
Could they just possibly be high, or?
My thing with this is, I want to believe that in my heart, I want to believe that there's no way that there's just this many crazy people on the planet, that there has to be a modicum of truth in some of the stuff that some of these people. But no, there's certain callers who call and you're just like, come on, buddy. It just don't sound right. But there's certain people who will call and they'll tell a story. And I mean, some people are just damn good storytellers, but some people will call and they'll tell stories, or people will guess will be on there. And it's the manner in which they speak. It seems so authentic, like, there's people who dedicate their life, but then there's those guests who come on and say, yeah, and it just sounds real sketchy. But it's just some of those callers, those few and far in between callers and guests that just have that they sound, the level of authenticity, at least they sound like it, that makes me question certain things, But then the other ones, you hear the crazy ones, you're like, I don't know. But I guess it's just the curious side of me that just wants to believe that there's something else out there more than just the human life on this planet. Like this fucking universe is so huge, there has to be some other shit going on, and there's a lot of things I think going on Earth that we probably haven't discovered yet.
Yeah. I mean, you never know. Mm-hmm. That's really all there is to it. Mm-hmm. Like, you never know, like some declassified document comes out that shows that Lee Harvey Oswald didn't kill President Kennedy. Like, who the fuck knows?
Yeah, like, I definitely think.
What if the mob had Kennedy killed? Like, that's certainly what a lot of people actually think, that the mob got Kennedy killed for some reason.
Yeah, maybe make some change that he didn't like.
Yeah, I heard it had something to do with like Marilyn Monroe or whatever. That's just for another day. Mm-hmm. But that technology just makes conspiracy theories a lot more heard. And it makes a lot more people believe it. Like that Slenderman. You remember that Slenderman shit? You know, where these
Yeah.
two girls, like, they took their friend out in the woods and like tried to sacrifice her for Slenderman.
Mm-hmm.
That was an urban legend made online, and that brought out one of the biggest cons in technologies. Like people look up shit on the internet and believe everything they see.
That's true.
And I heard you saying about how phones these days are an addiction, and and as a young person, I will totally 100% agree with you. I mean, when I have kids, I want to like teach them that there's more to life than just a phone screen. That there's more stuff out there. Like, if you're just outside throwing a fucking ball, I don't care. Like, if you're doing that, like, that's great. Like, being outside is a whole different experience than being on your phone or texting someone or watching YouTube or watching Netflix. Like, I mean, I've always been an outdoors person my whole life. Just love to go fishing, hunting, or just being outside. But we're just gonna. I feel like we're gonna be in a day where there's gonna be screens in front of us all the time.
Mm-hmm. And do you think that's what they want? Because that to keep us distracted from other things. Like I said, I don't know if you're experienced. I don't know what level of things you believe in. But do you see like a difference maybe between yourself and other individuals your age? Do the youth your age seem more distracted? With everything that's going on, they seem more concerned with what's going on the phone and social media than what's going on in their own lives.
Well, yeah, I mean, I believe so. I mean, like, whenever for example, if I want to go out with a girl, one of the first things I look at is like, I wonder if she pays attention to her phone a lot, if we're like out hanging out somewhere. And if so, then probably she's not the best one to go to. And because if you're out with a girl that's paying attention more to her phone than yourself, then that's not the right person for you.
Exactly.
Not only because she's not paying attention to you, but also because she thinks the phone's more important than you. And with what do you call it? And technology, if you can actually make an argument that technology's made fake news a lot more. Fake news is starting to become a more a trend these days because like I said, you can get on your phone, you can make a blog and post any fake shit, and there is going to be people that will believe you. No, like that whole Pizzagate thing where someone said that Hillary Clinton was having a child sex ring under that pizza place made by a complete nobody, and then someone raided that place and held everyone at gunpoint. Turned out it was fake as fuck. You know why? Yeah, you know why? Technology. But I'm not saying that the only things about technology are cons. I mean, there's definitely a lot of pros. Medical stuff. We can communicate long distance. I wouldn't know that this show fucking existed. I wouldn't know about soft sports.
That's true. So it wouldn't exist. It wouldn't even exist if it wasn't for the internet. So yeah, and like I said, there are amazing things, but I guess it's about how you apply it and how you use it. And I think that there has to be, as with everything in life, levels of moderation. Yeah.
And there's also the C word everyone talks about, which is censorship. And these days it seems like, because like Twitter, there was something that happened recently. It was after a black conservative Trump supporter comedian had his account blocked for hate speech.
Oh, the little dude, the little kind of gay dude. What's his name?
He was one of the people that spoke at that summit a few days ago. I forgot his name, but I was reading about that.
Yeah, I know. He's I don't know. He's I'm neither here nor there on that guy. Like, I mean, I ain't I don't hate him for what he does. I'm just not the biggest fan. But yeah, definitely I know what you're talking about. Yeah, he definitely had some people harassing him. But
Yeah. And then Twitter jail. There's also that.
Yeah. And that's
we know Third Coast Sports has been some time on there.
Yeah, shit. Is Wink still in Twitter jail? I ain't seen Wink in a minute on the Twitter. It's been like a week or so almost. It's been maybe longer than that. It's been a minute since he's been in Twitter jail. I don't even know what happened. That's why I say, I hate it. And what happened with Twitter is that, and you back a couple of years ago, you had a bunch of people come over to Twitter who were mainly like Tumblr users and stuff like that. And then Tumblr was super wokety woke, and so they started bringing that energy to Twitter. Twitter used to be really funny. People used to have a good time on Twitter. Just talk a bunch of shit and you could enjoy it. Now everybody's offended by every fucking thing, and everybody's fucking lame on Twitter. I mean, it just sucks that you can't speak. It's like even with me, I'm extremely cautious because there's some things I definitely want to say. There's a lot of things I just don't even address because I can't address it honestly in the fashion I would like to. Sometimes you just want to call people fucking names that other people may not approve of because they think they're derogatory. Sometimes, hey, it's just the best way to identify somebody. But I just kind of chill and sit back because it just is what it is at this point. It's only going to get worse, and I'm just watching some things that are happening. And if certain things take place, it's gonna get real bad for everybody. And the people who think it's a great thing are gonna end up regretting it real soon.
And I mean that cancel culture shit, I don't really agree with that because that means like even though the person may be proven innocent about what that person did, that person is still quote unquote canceled.
Yeah.
But it's basically like the Me Too movement. I mean, if a story comes out about you that you, I don't know, sexually harassed somebody or sexually assaulted somebody, but it was proven false, and you were fired from your job, but then now you're proven innocent and you're trying to find a new job, guess what the first thing that those employers look up about you?
Mm-hmm.
It won't be about you being innocent. The first thing it will be about is you being accused of it. And once they see that, they're like, man, and you qualify for the job, but nah, we're going to have to pass.
Yeah, and then that's the thing that I hate about it because, people are quick to put the blasphemous accusations out there, the stuff that attracts the headlines, but when people find out that it was, then people, they either they don't recant, they still leave the old stuff up there, excuse me, or they, they may put a small retraction somewhere. Oh, we fucked up one or two sentences, somewhere hidden on a website or in a newspaper somewhere. They don't really address it with the same energy and fervor that they attacked it when they thought it was something negative going on. And so that's what I say. It ruins a lot of people's lives, and that's very unfortunate.
I mean, Dave Chappelle made that joke on his comedy special, Sticks and Stones, like, in 20 years, if I find who you are, you're successful.
Yeah, that's what man, let me tell you the thing that made me most upset from everything that I've heard probably in the last couple of weeks. Eddie Murphy's coming back. He's supposed to be doing a stand-up on Netflix. And I was sitting here wondering, I was like, okay, well, is it going to be old Eddie Murphy, who was from Delirious and Raw, and he just told jokes about everything, and he was just ruthless. And come to find out, he apologized for a lot of the jokes that he made on Raw and Delirious. And now I have absolutely no interest in seeing his new Netflix stand-up because that's what this cancel culture... This was the fucking 80s. We're talking about 30 fucking years ago when this shit was made. Shit, probably even more than that, 30, 35 years ago when this shit was made. And you have to go back and apologize. Man, fuck you. You know what I'm saying? That's the shit that killed me. Hey, you know what? That's what it was back then. It is what it is now. I hate it. I hate that you have to do that shit.
Yeah, my favorite bit was like the Rocky jokes. Like, how he's saying how Italian guys would think now back then.
Would you jump in your IROC Z28? Yeah, that shit was fucking. Eddie Murphy was hilarious, man. And it's just like now. I mean, that's what I say. People take the humor out of everything because one individual's upset.
When I was growing up, I first known about him because I watched because I realized that he was Donkey on Shrek.
Yeah, that's a much different Eddie Murphy. That's when he definitely toned down a lot of what made him great, and that's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. But oh shit, I ain't really paying attention. But here's the deal, chill, man. Like I said, we went over. We having a good conversation. But I'm gonna take a couple more calls, man. But I appreciate you calling in and just sharing your thoughts with us, man.
Yeah, no problem, man. Hey, since the Astros won tonight, I'm gonna be uploading that video I've been talking about tomorrow morning. So.
All right, cool. Well, send me like I say, either tag me or send me a link, and what I'll do is I'll post it on the Soft Sports community page, and so that way maybe people can check it out.
You should promise it though. You only do it if you like it. All right.
I got you. That'll work.
It's only if you like it. I'll say this though. I spent 5 hours on this. All right.
Okay. I got you.
Straight.
I got you.
No break. All right. Well, I'm gonna let these other people get in. I'm pretty sure they have some pretty interesting points.
All right. Well, that's a bit.
Yeah. Well, and everyone subscribe to the Dan. Subscribe to Soft Sports. All right.
Motherfucking right. That's a bet, chill, man. I appreciate the call, man.
No problem. You have a good night, Honcho.
All right. You too. First, look. Only one law. We're just trying to debo people. You know, you're over there trying to punk people. You're gonna catch a square. To address, we got a call, so I can't address it. I was gonna address your statement there, beyond a funny nigga, but I can't address it now. We got a call. What's the motherfucking deal? We got calling into the den this evening.
What's up?
What's good? What's happening? What's cracking?
None. Hold on. I got to cut you off on the computer.
Oh, look, she did me like, who's that? K-Camp? It ain't nothing to cut that bitch.
I just had to just close the damn lab type shit. I couldn't find the damn mouse to put you on pause. Okay, so what's up?
What's good? What's going on? So tell me about how technology has changed in your lifetime. You know, is it better to have the convenience? Was it better to have the human connection back then? I mean, what has technology done for you since your youth to this point now? What changes have you seen?
Oh, I've seen a lot of changes. I mean, I think some good, some bad. You know, the bad part is kind of made us kind of lazy. It made us disconnected from people, because I remember when you used to call people. Now you just text, you know what I'm saying? And then it's communication pretty much. And kids, a lot of them being raised by a lot of TVs and games and everything. They don't hard to go outside like they used to. I remember back in my day, you play, you go outside, you go up and play basketball, softball. But now they just play the shit on the video game. Yeah. Oh, that'd be a good job for double dutch game.
One, okay, so hold on. We're going to pause. We're going to talk about this double dutch game for a second, right?
When somebody come out with that shit, y'all heard that shit on the den first, and I'm suing they ass.
Man, the double dutch game, one, I don't know who would play the double dutch game, but what I do know is that motherfucker would be hard than a bitch. Double dutch, come on, you talking about when they swinging the two row, how you gonna have to be, that's gonna be a button masher. You're gonna be over there busting them buttons up trying to place the fucking double dutch on the damn game. Trying to keep the feet, you got to be in rhythm with your feet, each butt for each foot, and clapping and spinning and flipping and shit. That's when you gotta get to the high level. Have you ever seen one of them professional double dutch meets?
Oh yes, I love watching those. They be getting down.
That motherfucker be
I mean, they be backflips in there and all that kind of shit. They don't mess around in the game.
Exactly. Like they do shit between the ropes that I can't even do regularly. So motherfuckers be getting it in, man. So I ain't even mad at them. So it's definitely a talent.
I seen one thing, goddamn it, they did a forward flip while the person was in the rope, and the person in the rope did a flip too. Oh shit, they bad. They better win. They bad right there. I said, hell no.
That's tough. That's tough. Like I say, but like, kids ain't even gonna get into shit like that no more because again, they just rather do it on the fucking thing. You know, we used to go to the basketball court. Like that used to be the thing. Like back in the day, like yeah, if the weather was bad, okay, we're gonna get on the basketball game. We're gonna play whatever. But if we could go out and play ourselves, we motherfucking me. Wow, that's disgusting. We would go out and actually play basketball until it wasn't suitable to play no more. And then shit, don't let somebody have a car in the park ain't got no light. Well, shit, somebody finna cut them headlights on. We finna keep playing. Like, like we would have fun. We'd have a good old time. But now it's like kids don't want to go outside. Like they don't want to step foot out the door unless they just have to. And if they have to, they gotta have a phone. And like I was telling y'all, last year in the little league that the little one was in was playing soccer. I remember that little kid. He wouldn't even get on the soccer field unless his mom had to get on the soccer field with him. She walk around doing the damn drills. He holding the fucking phone basically. Looking at the phone. He crying on the sideline. He couldn't even get in the game because he couldn't get away from that damn phone. You know what I'm saying?
And in my day and age, it was almost unheard of for a child to have a cell phone.
Man, look. That's
Like we still had pages. Shit. I mean, it was crazy. That was your form of communication, page, and then you get to a pay phone and call somebody.
Better have a fucking quarter. So yeah, so I say it's terrible. I say the sun ain't the same. It's the sun will kill today. Look, y'all better get some. Look, niggas better start wearing suntan lotion or some shit. Y'all better get out there and play some goddamn. That's what I'm telling y'all. The future of sports is gonna be over with. Like, see, this is what they doing right now. See, that's why they making sports softer and easier for motherfuckers to play because the talent level is decreasing because niggas ain't playing sports no more. Niggas ain't being athletic. The competition is weak. It's only like 3 kids in America playing high school football still. Huh?
They too damn skinny. Have you seen these young men nowadays? They look like they need to eat. The girls bigger than them. Like what the hell going on?
That's tough. Well, see, that's why all the men.
The boys used to be, have a little muscle to them, a little something to look at. Now they just skinny and wear skinny jeans and all this other kind of shit.
Yeah, they got to stay skinny to fit the skinny jeans. But the worst thing about it though is that. See, look, the niggas that got so soft, they start throwing on wigs and running into women's events now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's exactly. They said that it's two trannies that basically hold all of the girls' state records in Connecticut. It used to be like 15 different chicks that had different records. Now it's 2 trannies that hold all the records.
How much? Yeah, I had heard they were taking over the high school sport.
Shit is ridiculous, man. Shit is ridiculous.
I don't understand why more parents don't protest.
And the thing about it, y'all see they've been having these relays, these new track relays with the men and the women, and they're trying to make it an Olympic event. But what you got to realize, the funny but fucked up thing about it is, I almost feel like this is a political stunt because what they did is it was a chick. They were running the relays, the last leg of the relay, and she had like a 7-second lead on these dudes. Like she was, the last she ran the anchor leg, and she was gone. I mean, she was gone. She had a hell of a lead because of what they did. I think they switched theirs up. I think they because most people went man, woman, man. I think they did theirs like male, female. So. Whatever country that was. So again, by the time the male came in, race he had a big lead on her. But like I say, once she got out there, when I say them dudes, we've got to be careful because I can't use terms like we used to back in the day. Caught up with her quickly. Like I said, she was by far in first place, and she ended up in 4th or 5th after it was all said and done. Like one dude passed her quick. He caught up with her quick and passed her. Then like eventually, like I say, 3 or 4 other dudes, and then one dude caught her like at the end. I want to say she ended up at 5th. I want to say one dude like tied, like he was almost tied, but he caught up with her right at the end. And it's like I say, so I don't know if they feel like they're doing that to, I don't know if they're doing that to prove a point, but that should be something they need to look at and say, okay, hey, well, there's definitely a difference here, so we don't need to have these and even if they put them on like what they call the hormone therapy to suppress all that, you're still going to have much higher levels of testosterone than any of these women. And you're still going to have natural advantages. and it's just it's crazy. And Miss Bell, it's both of them. You can use Lady Licious and Shannon are both correct answers. So some questions have multiple answers.
You know what I need more pistachio for my question.
What?
I need people to receive 1,000 pistachios and they get the correct answer for my answer.
I'm gonna have to see. Like I can't, I necessarily can't control. It offers a random prize per question. But let me look and see what I can do. But
yeah, I miss my Riverdale pistachio, so I'm gonna need all my pistachios today. Cause you've been shorting me on the pistachio.
No, I don't believe that. I believe that. I would never do such a thing. But
you would do such a thing. Shall I remind you of the incident where I had to return the pistachios to you?
I don't know. Look, let me see. I don't know if we had pistachio receipts. I gotta look. I gotta check my records. But we were talking about cancel culture earlier. How much of that is due to technology now with this social media and the fact that you can just address and attack and all this information goes on? Was that a thing back in the day? I don't remember that being an issue really, as much back then. If somebody committed a crime, but
I just have people try to act over there, and that's what I don't like. It seems like it's making people, mean.
Making a meme.
They know they did. If they were face to face with people.
But how much of that is just now that because people do so much interacting between digital media instead of having that real connection? Do you think is it more awkwardness, discomfort, or what is it that you think is making them meaner these days? Or do you feel like they think they can get away with it because they have that veil of anonymity?
They're not using their government name, so they feel like they control people and stuff.
Okay.
Just don't have no life.
Okay.
Like some other trolls you got in the den, no life. Get away.
Well, now why would you talk about Shannon like that?
I ain't talking about her. I'm talking about
well, I'm talking about Shannon.
I'm like, Shannon needs to call in to get some more of her stories. I miss her stories.
Shannon don't want to. Jason has to be on it, man. Shannon said she don't want to tell us no more stories because to say we don't appreciate her stories.
Y'all know that y'all talked real bad about her, and that was wrong.
What? When did we ever talk bad about Shannon? Never, ever. Maybe one time did we ever talk bad about Shannon.
Every time.
Maybe twice. I'm checking my recollection.
Yeah, I know my friend ran me down, so before I go, I wanted to mention that the Joshua Brown case.
Yeah, okay.
Man, they had him on a video. He was on live stream on selling drugs.
Oh, well. So, does that throw all those conspiracy theories out the window?
It was the same day.
Oh, okay. See, that was part of the video pre-paid. I got to figure out what's going on with these text messages. But yeah, I saw a couple of photos, the photo where he was holding a big stack of money. You know how the rappers like to do the phone money, but he was just holding a big old stack of money. I'm going to be honest, Airbnb is digital payments. So unless you just went to the bank and just took out a whole bunch of money to put on your ear, and I don't think that was Airbnb money. So again, now but people don't. Why don't you think people want to hear that? Huh?
He showed the weed.
Oh, he showed it.
I kind of think he's kind of like an idiot.
Oh.
I hate to because
so maybe that's the case that
you on live.
Yes.
Like you on live right now.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, he had a big old. Oh, it was big. I didn't know it come like that. The weed thing. It looked good though. It looked like real. It looked like some good shit though. But I don't smoke, but it looks nice, you know. But yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying though. So people, this is kind of where I was hinting at. And again, like I said, I try not to go too far without a little bit more information. But people saying, "Oh, why would somebody do this and why would somebody do that?" Well, some people are just stupid. So my thing is, people are not aware.
He was involved in another shooting at a strip club a year before.
Mm-hmm.
His friend ended up getting shot.
Yes.
But they say he was the intended target.
Don't tell people that because they're gonna get mad at you. They're gonna tell you no, it's a conspiracy theory and it was this, that, and the third. This man, especially if you're a target and somebody looking for you and you putting yourself, you become a national figure. You know what I'm saying? Because you're in a big case, and if you don't have awareness and you still selling drugs and doing all that other stuff, that's on you. Maybe that's why he was up there crying because he out there getting exposed on TV when he don't want to be. Because if he didn't know old buddy, I'm gonna be like, honestly, if I don't know somebody, even if it's in a relatively close distance and they got killed, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not gonna just be crying and bawling about it. I'm just gonna be like, damn, that's fucked up. That's unfortunate. But
and they said the guys that was involved had something to do with that other shooting, and he's supposed to be a witness in that case. And that case is coming up, so they think that kind of connects. We want to find that story out too.
So see, and that ties into the thing that Mary said. I didn't put it on the screen, but she said to me that someone was talking about that these guys, that they knew the family of these dudes and that they had been plotting on this for a while. So, but again, and I understand.
They're trying to put him up, yeah.
And I understand it. And they probably figure, shit, he took the stand against the cop. He for sure gonna take the stand against us. Mm-hmm. But my thing is my thing is just like, and this is why I say, we as black folks, trust me. Y'all be saying, oh, you tripping. You be saying some of the things you be tripping. Trust me, I don't want to say these things. I don't want to honestly believe these things, but this shit is true a lot of the time. So it's just like, I'm not going to sugarcoat it and be like, well, just because I'm black, this don't happen. Man, y'all niggas know a nigga that did it yesterday. And so let's not act like these things don't happen. Now, I can understand in certain cases where, okay, hey, there's some questionable things going on, but when there's just too many facts that just make sense, but we trust me, I understand, like, again, I understand black people and the police do not have the most intimate, friendly relationship, but everything is not a setup.
Police, so, you ain't gonna be able, you're not gonna be able to change some people, man, even when they got the evidence in front of them. It don't matter because they got there. If the police had something to do with it, and you're not gonna change them people. It is what it is.
Yeah, I agree. It just, that they have their personal feelings towards it. But that's my thing, and that's why I say, I wanted to kind of look at both angles of it because of, like I said, I wasn't 100% sure. But then after that, like I said, I saw some of the things with the stacks of money, and but why is it? And again, and I get it, I guess, because we want to show people in their best light. But why is it that, as soon as somebody gets killed and the circumstances are sketchy, and I'm not saying that every nigga is guilty of everything. There are a lot of fucked up situations that happen, but we're going to address each one as it is. But why do we always go to showing the best picture of them that you could ever find and just act like there's no way they would do this because, look at this. Come on, let's be honest. We all got good photos and we all got some dirty shit that we did. There's times that we would probably not want to be photographed doing certain things that we've done in our lives. But that's just not on tape. That's just not on camera or whatever you want to call it. But then there's going to be pictures where of course, I'm at a family reunion. Of course, it's going to look good. Or I'm with, at graduation. There's going to be certain moments in your life that are going to look good and that are identifiable with people. But why? Like, I mean, I get it. I don't know why I'm even asking, but I get it. But just because these pictures exist, why do people act like people can't have other sides to them?
People don't want to put that out there. They want to paint the best picture of that person that they can. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And even if he did was a drug dealer or whatever, he still lost his life. He had he just had a baby. So, his son out there, without a father. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
Yeah. So of course people going, you know.
But at the same time, when is it the father's responsibility? When is it when you realize you just had a child that, hey, maybe it's time for me to change the game, or maybe what I'm doing or what I've been up to, maybe it's time for me to stop living for myself and start living for my son, or living differently. Let me operate differently because I.
When he got shot, and it obviously probably was related. He should have stopped that shit then. You know what I'm saying? But I guess the money was too good for him. They paid us money.
I agree.
And then he can Facebook selling drugs. Like, you too comfortable. And you involved in the national case. Come on. It's like he was giving over because he's giving him evidence, that those people know that he did.
Yeah, it's like, why would you do that? Again, that's what I'm saying. It's just certain things that are baffling, to say the least. That these behaviors, like, why would you engage in these things knowing that what you're doing is extremely risky? But
showing money and all that kind of stuff, like you can't, you don't want to know protection.
Again, like I say, I don't. Again, sometimes you just got to account for. Maybe people are just dumb enough to do the things that we would think people wouldn't do. I think part of it is that people watch too many fucking crime movies. I was trying to say, like, get your ass off of that, nigga. Get up. I think too many people watch too many crime movies, and they watch too much Paid in Full and all these drug movies. They think just every nigga selling drugs got it together. It's a lot of really stupid niggas out there that sell drugs and have relatively decent success with it. Like, that's the crazy part about it. Like, it's some niggas that
he was smoking too much, getting high off his own supply. So you got to be how to do some shit like that. Like,
yeah, I mean, you doing dirt at the crib. If you dealing with dudes who have been looking for. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, right? Because this is what you got to think about. Let's play conspiracy. I know we way off. We supposed to be talking about technology, but we'll talk about this last thing real quick, and then we'll take one more call. But
I didn't know when I was going to get back in the call to talk
but we all right. We all right. Play. Hold on, play. We good. But this is what I said. Let's think of it like this. So what if these guys have been looking for him, right? For however long. Now this guy's been forced to testify via subpoena, and now he's out there. Now his address is out there because everybody knows where Botham Jean got shot, and he's literally across the hall. So if he's still in that location, how do these guys? How they ain't been looking for him for a while? How do you know that it might not even been But they said they had text messages, what it is, but they could have been looking for him for a minute. And again, the text message could have just been a decoy. He might still have the same old number, yada yada yada. But they was waiting to run up on him, and then they did whatever they did. I mean,
one of them said they was plotting on him for a minute. How do you know stuff like that and then don't turn their child in? Like, I don't understand people. Like, everybody knew they was doing after him. That's crazy.
Man, but that's the thing, though, is people, self-preservation, preservation of your loved ones. People will know that, it's mamas and parents, cousins, all kind of people know that their kids out here living foul. But because they're related to them, they want to excuse it. That's a lot of stuff. People got friends that they know are living foul, committing all kind of crimes and dirt. But because these are your friends and associates, you don't want to see them locked up. But you got to think about the other side of the coin. What are they doing to people? What are they doing to other motherfuckers? Like, I'm not finna say I'm finna go turn in, any stuff. But I mean, you just gotta, you must disassociate or something. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, because then you get caught up in that situation. That's probably why old buddy got killed. Like you said, they was looking for him. The other guy ends up getting shot and killed from it. And I'm sure that may have probably weighed on his soul in some way or some level. Again, it's just. Yeah, it's too much, man. It's too much stuff, man. Too much stuff. So it's very sad, very sad. But I mean, like I said, loss of life, either way it goes, is extremely sad, and it's unfortunate that all this stuff is tied in to this case. But we just got to stop jumping on the conspiracy theory train so much, and let's let things fall in line and try to make some sense sometimes.
Yeah, because I'm normally on the conspiracy theory train, but when the evidence come in, you got to go with the evidence. What it is.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. It was nice talking to you. I'm going to go and wrap it up. I know somebody else is waiting, because I was waiting for a minute.
All right. Well, Miss Rashida, I appreciate you
and
calling.
I also want to tell everybody, man, Honcho say wrap it up, wrap this shit up. Don't bring up no other topic. Ain't no
I'm gonna get a wrap it up box like off of Chappelle.
Exactly.
Oh man, that's funny.
Y'all take care.
All right, well, appreciate you calling in, Miss Rashida.
And don't forget to give me my pistachio.
Well, I think I already gave them. Let me double check. I might have an extra couple of thousand I can throw in. Let me just see what's let me see what my pistachio budget looking like.
I be doing all two That's whack.
I think these false accusations against my character that I be acting like I'm stingy with the You said why buy weed in Texas when it's legal in Louisiana? Is it legal or is it medicinal? And then again, there's caveats and clauses, and it's still going to be a black. So a lot of places where it's legal, but there's a markup, there's a black market, there's accessibility, there's quality of weed, there's a lot of different caveats, a lot of different things that could play into why they would do that. And again, it could all have been a setup, an old okey doke, and then that they were just trying to set him up just to get at him. So it could have been a whole different thing. So I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into that. Shelly. All right. Well, that's been Ms. Rashida. I appreciate you calling in, and I look forward to hearing from you again soon in the near future.
Okay. You take care too.
All right. You have a good evening.
All right. You too.
All right. What's the motherfucking deal? Who we got calling into the den this evening?
Hey, it's Belle. I'm calling back. Couple of things.
All right.
I'm going a little off topic, but it was the last thing I saw you were talking about. Did you know that in the state of Colorado, the state is taking $3.5 million from weed sales and working it with the homeless?
Word? I didn't know that.
Yep. Heard that actually from my daughter the other day. I was like, hey, there is something positive coming from this.
Yeah. Because I think they were putting some money back into education, but I didn't know about the homeless thing.
Yep. I don't know if California was set to do the same thing. Of course, they'd have everybody in a home if that's the case. But getting back to why I called, Rashida really inspired me tonight with some of the conversation that she had. And I think that it's really important, and I'm really glad that they've brought to light black men being pulled over by cops and them being frisked and, putting them in cuffs before asking questions. I happen to have been watching a program last night, and it showed it, and I was just like, I know that it still goes on. I'm not naive to not think that it goes on. But how do we put that conversation on the table without what's the word I want? There's a specific word. Desensitizing everybody about it and seeing it for the importance that it is.
I think it's a again one of those nuanced situations. I think there has to be. I don't know. You just have to honestly be open and blunt and frank about the conversation, because I think what happens, especially when you're having the PC conversations and you're trying to have it a certain way so that nobody gets upset and nobody gets offended, and because I see things that go both ways, right? I was actually sent a couple of videos from different people. One of them was that I've seen a lot of people talking about these last couple of weeks was the kid who had I forgot where he was, but he got pulled over and because they said because he had an air freshener on in his car, basically, hanging from the rear view mirror. So this is why the cop says that he pulled him over. Well, I pulled you over. I couldn't see he told me he couldn't see the color of his skin. That wasn't why. So you can see an air freshener in my car, but you can't see anything else. You can tell that I have this going on. And again, he followed him for 20, 30 minutes or whatever. And then, when the guy basically talked to him, he kept asking him how, when's the last time you smoked weed? Do you smoke weed? He kept telling him, no, I've never smoked. He gave him, references to his job and, what he did and a couple other things. But the guy just, I don't know, man. I just feel like you're being dishonest because you're shaking and you're nervous, and I don't know. And then he told him something about, with his hands being at 10 and 2. Well, why are your hands at 10 and 2, man? You seem real nervous. It just seems like you're being deceitful. And it's like, again, this man is being as cautious as he can. It's been floating around. And, he just tells a bunch of stuff. He said, well, I think you need to take a field sobriety test. And he just says a bunch of things. Yeah, you can tell the guy's a good kid. Looks like he doesn't have any tattoos, clean cut guy. He's says he's a car dealer. And they got pictures of him, working at the car dealership and everything. College guy. And he's just like, he's fishing real hard to get him to fall for something. And you're just kind of like, well, why is this necessary? This is a guy you can honestly tell nothing's going on. That it wouldn't, anybody should be obvious. But then you have guys who are, I'm not going to sit here and say that everything is so cut and dry. There are situations where you may not think anything's happening, and they end up becoming dangerous. They end up escalating real quick. Depending, it could be the person that's pulled over, it could be the fault of the officer or whatever. But I think real conversations need to be had, and people should not be allowed to get all emotional in their feeling, because I know that there are, law enforcement officers who may feel a particular way about, because you'll hear people say something about, I don't want to get shot. Oh man, don't use that, because another video that I saw, where the guy's like, well, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm nervous because one, it's 30 degrees out here, and then two, I've been seeing, the stuff that's been going on. It's, oh, so you're using that. It's like they take offense to it, but you kind of got to see how, everybody feels, all parties feel. And then again, so they get offended, they feel a little hostile, the person becomes more nervous, and it just makes it's a back and forth that nobody's really winning, because again, it makes the person look more suspect, because they're more cautious of what they've said, and feeling more intimidated or whatever it may be. The cop thinks they have something to hide. Why would they say something? And again, like I say, these interactions that continue to happen day in and day out, and I think most of them happen relatively smoothly as possible. But there are a lot of situations that occur, and they're unnecessary. I think pride is a big part of it. I think if a person assumes something, it's hard to. If I have a knack, or I feel like, this is something that's going on, that's going to be something that's going to bother you. And you're going to want to, when you have the power to investigate it, you have to investigate it right then or figure it out, because you're not getting this opportunity, down the road. Like something, if you got an issue in your own home, of course, you're going to see these people, you're going to deal with them day in and day out, and you can kind of figure out what the problem is. But if it's a suspicious person or whatever it is, you have a moment to operate. So I understand all of that. But sometimes I think they let those feelings and those thoughts overwhelm reason in some of these situations. Again, but like I say, not every person is peachy keen. Again, there's a lot of people who, you could be previous experiences that make them see something with behavior that led them to something else and discovering something, or they're just making a bad judgment. But I think that, like I say, all that aside, these conversations need to be had raw, uncut, and filtered, and unfiltered. And I need to be able to, like, if I feel like I'm the problem, hey, well, this is what you guys do. This is what I see day in and day out. When this keeps getting pushed in the media, of course, I'm going to believe this. The same way, if you see, blacks committing crimes all day, and everything, then you're going to believe this when you see it. I might not be that guy. You might not be that guy. But when we cross paths, all of a sudden, to each other, we are that guy. Even though I don't know you, you don't know me, but you're going to assume one thing about me, and I'm going to assume something about you. And then that's what leads to these tense and these hostile situations. And again, the civilian usually doesn't have any power in the situation. And if law enforcement feels a particular way, or they feel a whim, whether it may or may not be true, they usually have the upper hand and the advantage to do something that may not be the most ideal outcome.
Absolutely true. The other thing, too, is being female. I don't, and we'll never know what it's like to be black, but I also know what it's like to be female. And I remember what it was like to be very young and being female and being pulled over, and the law, stepping up to the, registration and license and all that. I remember how intimidating it was being female and being young as well. That being said, it kind of leads into the second question. Does it happen more in the cities or more in the suburbs? And is it more of a northern thing or southern thing? Is it primarily in like urban areas? The reason I ask that is because growing up in a small town, the cops pretty much knew all the kids in the town. It was that small communities that they knew who you were when they ran the tags. But the bigger urban areas, I find that there's a lot of car chases and a lot more violence because there's more people per capita. Now, I just don't know whether it's like some of our people from the bigger cities, whether it's New York or Chicago or Detroit or even like you're in Houston or Miami or even California, if it applies in that same level because of the bigger populations, does it just make more violence and more hardcore stuff rather than some of the smaller communities?
I think every individual situation I think is different because, like I said, there's been times I've lived in smaller areas, I would say, that, or smaller jurisdictions, you would say, and, you run into law enforcement that's not even from that area, that I don't know if they just transferred there or whatever else. I remember, one of the last times I got pulled over, I was a little bit outside of Houston, and the guy pulled me over, because he thought I was somebody else from some some raid they had. He's like, "Oh yeah, man, I know you." I said, "No, the fuck you don't." That's not me. So I don't know what you're talking about. I've never even been to this place that you're talking about. But he's like, "Yeah, man, and yada yada." I say, "No, that's no, you have me mistaken." And so he's like, "Oh, well, I thought you were, and I'm from Chicago, and blah, 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 blah." And then, he says, "Well, you look just like," again, and that's why I noticed he had this hunch, like, and again, you have people lie and say, "Oh, no, that's not me," and it's fucking them. So I understand that, they have to operate with a different mentality, but at the same time, like, I understand it's going to be hard to do. But then you have people who are in these big areas that are familiar with certain sides of town, that probably live in that side of town, and they may either have some type of animosity for the individuals that live there, or they may actually have affection for the people who live there, and they just really want to do good. So I think it just depends on the personality of the individual that becomes a law enforcement officer and their intentions. Is it about power? Is it about helping? Is it about really making an improvement? Like I say, when I was young, I know a lot of guys that I went to high school with that became law enforcement, but from seeing some of the incidents that they got into, just hearing word of mouth and stuff like that, and then knowing their character from when they were in high school, it seemed more like a power trip. Now, I'm not saying it was all of them. It was one or two of them that were pretty good guys that seemed like they were trying to do the right thing. But I don't know how it impacts you after spending so many years on the force and all that other stuff. But again, I think it goes down to the intention. I don't think the area necessarily changed. I think it's the individuals who are a part of that force.
Yeah, I definitely think, like you said, too, table talk in the towns and in the communities is really a good must. And to be able to get it out there so that it's a conversation that's talked about, but it doesn't become kind of numb to, okay, we've already been through this, and how can we improve on it, which is what we should be looking at, but kind of sliding under the table because, yeah, well, there's other things that are, quote-unquote, more important, but this is a really important thing. The other part of it, too, is the element that's not doing the right thing, whether whomever is not making good choices, it seems like we have a lot more anger in the criminal population than we ever have.
Yeah.
And I mean that in no disrespect other than just watching the amount of violence that has gone up with the individual crimes across the board. Not to say that there's more murders or anything else, but there's just a lot more violent offenders than there ever have been. It escalates too quick. People are just across the board jumping the gun on things. And I'm not going to say that I haven't jumped the gun on my own shit, but I'm just saying it's an across-the-board thing, and that's kind of a conversation that kind of get included with that cancel culture and the fact that people are less tolerant than they used to be or have a little less compassion for bad shit going on.
I mean, I think that I don't know if we've become numb to it. I don't know. Again, like I say, it's hard to separate a lot of things too, because I think this is what happens with some of this stuff is because of this technology. We're gonna tie it all in, that you can see all of these incidents from all over the country. So it seems almost, I won't say it's more than it is because it's happening frequently, but it's in different places. And so what people tend to do is they lump all these incidents together. Well, you got to understand, certain places have certain set of rules, certain set of laws, and how things work. And again, there's usually some background story that we don't hear everything about. But I think you got a certain segment of people who are just kind of numb to it. And I think you have a certain segment of people who feel like they are being violated by it. But at the same time, you got a lot of people who sign on to the violation, again, when they've never been in the experience, they've never had that issue, that's never happened to them, but they see somebody who looks like them or whatever. So they automatically kind of attach an emotional connection to it. But in reality, a lot of times there are reasons. Now, I'm not saying, again, like I say, each story is different, and that's the way I try to look at it. I try to look at it, okay, well, this situation, cop was in the wrong. This situation, individual was in the wrong. This situation, civilian was wrong, cop, or whatever. Every situation is independent of the other. Now, if there's a specific area where it's happening frequently, you maybe have the same officer involved or whatever, then, you start to notice patterns and trends. But what we do, like I say, is when we're lumping things that are happening across this whole country, all is just cops versus people. When you have, I'm assuming, hundreds of thousands of cops across the nation, yeah, you're going to have a lot of situations where there's some people who have infiltrated the force and they are no good people. Mm-hmm. But then that's when you focus on. And then I think, though, what you got to do is start. I think there's a whole lot to it. Like I said, I think it would be a whole. It would take a whole stream to really to get into it. But I think part of it is just people have gotten numb to it. I think the cops feel disrespected because they have a tough job and they feel like people don't appreciate or respect them for what they're doing, and it's part of a lot of the rhetoric and stuff that's getting out there. So a lot of them go out risking their lives depending on where they're operating and what they're doing, and they just feel like they're getting degraded and disrespected. And again, like I said, a lot of them are daily putting their life on the line for to save lives or whatever. But what a lot of people don't think is if they weren't doing some of these things to some of these people in some of these areas, and again, take it how you want to, it'd be a lot of local neighborhood terrorism going on, and people would just be suffering from it. They wouldn't really be doing too much about it. So again, each individual story is different. It's hard to lump them all together. I know a lot of people like to do that because it seems like it's so frequent. It just seems, you see badge versus civilian. But I think each case has to be handled. Or I try to personally look at each case separately. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that I always do that without bias, but I try my best to.
I completely agree with you. I mean, it's the catch-22 situation because the thing is that police in general should be respected, but they've done some fucked up shit, too, over the years that have allowed people to not want to respect them. And it goes both ways. I mean, when people commit crimes, it's like, own it. You did it. Stop victimizing yourself over something you made a choice of that was preventable. So it's looking at both sides of the coin on every individual basis, and that's a whole lot of shit to go through and to deal with. As a nation, I think we definitely all have to try to respect each other or as a general whole a bit more. I think that's one thing that seems to, at least in my opinion, across the board, respect is something that is very fragile in this country across the board, whether just neighbor to neighbor to people, like you were talking about with cancel culture and mean girls and bullying and all this crap. It's like that's one of the things that over the last 50 years of my life that I've seen degrade the most amount is just general respect for other people. You have it in pockets, you have it, on individual levels, but as a whole, there's a whole lot of disrespecting going on. And I don't know if any of you all have noticed that, but I just seem to have. And being politically correct, not so much. It's just it's telling a truth as my truth that I see. I know a lot of times I come off as Pollyanna, but these are things that matter to me. So this is what I'm talking as my truth. And I'm okay with that. So that's about all I had to ask, because I was just kind of tying into some of the things that Rashida was talking about, because she had a great call tonight. And I'm good. You got any other questions?
No, I don't think I have any further questions.
That was pretty good second round, so all right. If you get time for one more, then go for it. But I know sometimes the board shut down after midnight.
Yeah, we'll see if we've got anybody else on hold, and we'll take another call. But we'll see. But Ms. Bell, as always, I appreciate your call and for you sharing your thoughts.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thanks, Honcho.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Bell. Let me see. Do we have anybody else on hold, or is the lines dead? Look. Here's the deal. Like, y'all got to call before 12, otherwise it's gonna take you off hold, or it's gonna, whatever's going on. But here's my deal. Okay, and I want y'all to understand this. If I was to sit here and say that no, there's no race, I've had experience myself that clearly were racist. But again, like I say, when you talk about certain environments, certain communities, certain cultures on certain areas, depending on where you're at in certain areas, and I'm not saying it's your fault for being in that area, but there were times I was doing nothing. There were times that I was younger, where I grew up, walking with friends, had a white amigo, a Mexican amigo. Get hollered at by the laws, separate us. Hey, y'all free to go. Hey, let me holler at you. What do you got going? What are you doing here? What are you going? Well, why me? Of all people, and why am I the one getting hollered at, right? I mean, we were all walking together as a group, so why is it me? Why am I the one that's doing something? It's because I'm the largest, blackest guy. I mean, I can't think of any other reason. We've been hanging out together all day. We've been associating all day, frequently. So what is the difference with me compared to the other individuals? And again, like I say, and this is even prior, like I say, now I think a little bit differently about things, but even going back and just kind of reanalyzing that situation, what other legitimate excuse do you have? I had no record, it wasn't no nothing. I was a student, an athlete. I was whatever it may have been. I'm in a situation where I was up to no good. I'll tell y'all about my best friend. And like I said, that was like in high school, midway through high school. Then there's a time where I tell you about, I was with my current brother, my best friend's little brother that passed away, and I was off at a friend's house, and so two of my other partners came to get me. Then my best friend, he's Hispanic, looks white. The other guy was a white guy. So they were coming to pick me up for whatever reason I was doing, whatever I was doing, and I was at a party or something. I was just like, yeah. So on the way there, they got lost and ended up at a gas station. Guy at the gas station offers them a spectacular deal on some vegetation, if you will, right? Spectacular deal. So anyway, eventually they find me, and we were heading back to where we're going, and end up getting pulled over. Now, I'm the black guy, the white guy, but one of the white guys, he dressed like, what do you call a wigger? And then, like I said, my best friend, he always dressed real neat, pretty proper for the most part. So the wigger had the vegetation on him. The cop gets him out. He was driving. The cop gets him out and tell him something. Me, at this time, I was on a cell phone, one of the old cell phones that we were talking about. And, he checks my pockets and all this other stuff. And I never got off the phone the whole time. He was saying something. When I was young, I was really, really dumb. So I'm on the phone. I was talking to a chick or something about nothingness. And You know, I'll start pulling stuff like, oh, man, come on, hurry up, man, hurry up. I'm pulling stuff out of my pocket, like, hurry up, man. I'm pulling a brush and all this stuff. He's like, hey, man, you got to be careful. They can get you something. I'm like, man, hurry the fuck up because I'm not doing nothing. So, like I said, but he searched the wigger first. And like I said, he didn't do a thorough search of the wigger. And like I said, we were pulled over on the highway. So the wigger takes the vegetation and tosses it on the other side of the barrier. He takes my friend, he takes it back, he's like, hey, man. I guess they were smoking before they picked me up or whatever it may have been. He's like, hey, man, come on. You know, car smells like weed. And I know that these guys got some weed. So all you got to do is just tell me who got the weed and you won't get in any trouble, you know, and we can get this taken care of. And so it's just like, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It's like, ain't nobody got no fucking weed, man. I don't know what you're talking about. And again, but the cop ends up getting mad and leaving. And he says, so we asked, well, wait, man. So why did you pull us over? He's like, oh, because you were driving in the left lane. I was like, all right, okay. So there's that. We'll give you a warning this time. And he just sped off on us, man. Like, and he wasn't the brightest Crayola in the box at that time. And he was just like, shit, we should go back and go try to get them. I was like, man, fuck that vegetation, man. We could do without it. Like, I understand it was a superb deal. Just consider that the benefit of getting off this time, you know, and not having any issues. But, you know, again, I know that there are situations, that I've been in. But for me to sit here and say that all about, I've had situations that white police officer work out in my favor. Other times I've had pistols drawn on me, been by black cops. You know, and that I've had a real, like I said, even though it may have been racial bias that initially got me, I haven't had really a disrespectful issue with any white cops. And I've had my encounters. But when it comes to black cops, real disrespectful, a lot of some other things that happen I'm not going to get into now. But just real disrespectful, cocky motherfuckers. And I'm not even going to get into that story. But just, that was the issue. So I can't sit there and say that was a racial thing. At that point, it was a cop thing, right? Unless, you know, you can call them whatever you want to, but that was a cop thing. So, fucking eyes itching. So I can't play the race card with that. There's been times, like I said, I've had situations where probably things shouldn't have worked out the way they did. White cops. I was in trouble for some stuff, but looked out for me in a manner that if they really wanted to, if they really wanted to the point where there would not be a Honcho right now. I would not be on screen. I'd probably still be on vacation somewhere or whatever else it may be. You know, they could have easily, but just like, man, don't even worry about it, man. It ain't no big deal. And I'm not tripping. So it's like, again, because I guess, I don't know, it's just the way I approach stuff, the way I think about stuff. I cannot put everything on everybody, because it's the same way, you know, hey, we sit here and say, hey, well, all of us ain't the same. We ain't all this, we ain't all that. I can't sit here and say that and then look at someone else and say, well, all these people are this, unless they're Asian. That's the only people I can lump in one big group, because all Asians do all the same Asian stuff. They all drive Ricers, and they all go to Harvard. They all know karate. They all own weave stores, and they're all doctors. They do, like, every single one of them is all of those things. All Asian people are like, they have all the Asian stereotypes. Every single one of them. Anyway, so it's like, that's just the way I think about it. Does that way of thinking always benefit me? Maybe not. Does that way of thinking, is it probably the clearest? Is it probably the most on-point example of what's going on across the country? Probably not. But it's the way that I think about things to allow me to operate with minimal emotional reaction, that I stay thinking logically in whatever situation I'm in, to operate sensibly, as opposed to just getting mad, getting emotional, and then giving reasons for people to escalate situations into something different. Because guess what? if someone is afraid of niggas, they don't like niggas because they ain't worried about little black niggas. The ones that they are intimidated by, the ones they're worried about are big black niggas. And I've had them say this to me. Like, man, well, not using the niggas part, but basically, man, hey, we saw your information or whatever, yada yada, and like, man, that's a big old dude, man, and that's tough, man, and this, that, and I haven't said it while I've been in the car. So it's like, my thing is, so again, they not worried about the little niggas. They gonna fight y'all little niggas. They gonna shoot me. I get shot. They no get to fight me. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna get shot, even though I'm still much smaller than I was at a certain point. I get shot. I don't. There's no fighting and tussling with me. So you got to think ahead. You got to be smart. Can't let your emotions run rampant, especially in those type of high situations, where those intense situations. But again, the funny thing about it is, the last interactions I've had, conversation, whatever it may be, has been on the up and up. And again, like I said, when I've tried to come from an angle of understanding, man, you'll be surprised how far a little bit of respect. And again, I'm not a yes sir, no sir. I'll call you officer. That's your title. I'll address you like that. And we're going to have a conversation as long as you're not disrespectful. I mean, there used to be times sometimes I get mad. Like, there's probably a couple of times I probably should have been this shit. I've blatantly threatened to fight them and just do, I mean, all kind of dumb shit. Like I say, especially in high school, just stupid. Where they say young, dumb, and full of cum. And like I say, when I was a little bit more, I was trying to flex my muscle a little bit back then. And so like I say, for the most part, I'm not even tripping. It is what it is. It's just about having understanding. But then what you got to realize is your position in this game and their position in this game. This whole thing is a fucking game, man. Everything is a game. And you got to learn the rules to play by. And I'd rather be able to play by those rules alive than having somebody making me some martyr and putting me on a t-shirt and saying, this. 'Cause I don't win that way. I'm gone. I don't win that way. So it is what it is. But with that being said, every time I tell y'all, I mean, we ain't do too bad. Every time I tell y'all I'm only going to go exactly 2 hours, I always go over. I can't help it. I fucks with y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are great people. Whether we agree, whether we disagree on whatever it may be. I thank y'all for showing up today. I thank y'all for being here this evening. Tomorrow, we'll be live tomorrow. Tomorrow, I ain't going to tell y'all what we're going to talk about, but it may be in reference to something that one of Miss Ashley's previous calls this week. So y'all should know that should be relatively interesting. Miss Ashley has some very intriguing calls this week. That's what I got to bring back the awards. So Sunday night we'll get back to the awards. We'll start doing the weekly awards thing again, and might start doing two things. Might start having like a call of the week, and then we'll have the unique award thing. So we'll figure it all out. But with that being said, man, hey, look, I appreciate each and every one of you. I thank you for coming this evening. That's what she said. But man, I'm finna give me a little bit of rest. Got some things to handle in the morning. Got fucking content I got to drop on the sauce. And I plan on dropping again for the Patreon supporters, I will be dropping a private podcast tomorrow. I did one for Sauce today. I'm going to do one tomorrow. Like I said, I'm starting trying to schedule maybe 1 or 2 of those a week. But with that being said, I appreciate each and every one of you. You guys are the greatest. Wonderful, most amazing people. Whether you like me or not, you got to fucking deal with me because I love y'all. But y'all be cool, man. I'm going. I'll catch y'all mañana. Now, I'll see what I can do about those D together. And I see you singing Only One Lie. And I'm out.